Hi. Okay, I think I know what the title of the video is going to be about, but this is right now on my thoughts on and I'm pretty sure that I'm still working on thinking of the title, but right now the best I can think of the title is called Jake, Why Zack Snyder's Batman Kills. That's the title. And I'm only going to be talking about Batman from Batman vs. Superman, because saying that that's the only time Zack Snyder took on, as of right now, took on Batman and tackled to develop, and they're bringing the character to life again. And I know Zack Snyder. I watched this interview, so I'm not just. I watched this interview when he was doing an interview for Batman vs. Superman. So I'm not just it's not me just making things up. So I know Batman actually doesn't commit murder; he commits manslaughter. Well, except for one thing, and that's the warehouse thing. He does commit murder in the warehouse thing, and but that's the only thing he actually commits murder. So, but majority of the time he commits manslaughter as an unintentional murder. But still, manslaughter is still technically not a bad thing. It's not. It's different from murder, but it's not totally like the opposite of murder, like Zack Snyder seems to think in the interview. Because, and the reason why Zack Snyder, me telling you Zack Snyder, I thought he actually tried to work around and think of the techno way of him not committing murder and him not committing or manslaughter. But the thing is, he couldn't find the techno way of doing that. I mean, he found certain scenes for the techno way, but never a full script for the techno way of him not committing murder. So, or as we all know, it's actually called manslaughter. Sorry about that. So he decided to say, so he decided and said to the person that was interviewing, so it was basically just easier just letting him commit manslaughter. Also known as taking a life intentionally, so the accidental version of murder. So yeah, and honestly, I think this, I don't know. Now, I don't have any complaints of how he did Superman, like at all. I feel like, I do complain how he handled Batman, and I just want to straight up say, I don't think I could have picked another better person to play Batman better than Ben Affleck of this version of the character. That being said, I feel like there are some problems and I just want to bring all the facts out of what Zack Snyder has said on the record when he was being interviewed by this interviewer during Batman vs. Superman was coming out. I mean, this reporter, not interviewer. So that's what he says. Now I'm going to complain about why I feel like it didn't come out worse. I feel like there's so many ways I can think that this idea could have been handled better, but wasn't handled the best way. It wasn't handled awful, but it wasn't handled good either. Somewhere in between there of awful and good, in my opinion. Now, I'm one of those people that don't actually hate Batman movies, and actually really love it a lot. But that means, I think Man of Steel is tells a better, coherent story, was the best, and that's probably because of the pacing, because the pacing to Man of Steel is the best Zack Snyder same project he's worked on that's like the least choppily edited out of his films. Batman v Superman, the problem with Batman v Superman, I think that's the worst editing for a Zack Snyder film. It just feels like it's the most choppily edited, more than the 300. The first one, not the sequel. Yeah, so I'm sorry, I was just worked up, I'm exhausted because I worked myself up trying to figure out the title of this video. Now I'm just exhausted. So let me rest finish for a second. Okay, so the rest after I rested, I am ready to go. Now I've talked to Dad and give my thoughts about this to my dad about Batman's character in Batman v Superman, and but now I'm giving you my thoughts on it, and I'm saying, well, I just feel like this. I feel like I don't want to say. Well, I'm going to try to fix this out without changing Zack Snyder's vision. I'm still going to have. Well, what I'm trying to say is, I think I could make some adjustments to the story while still being everything else still being there. What I'm saying is, I feel like it could have been improved terrifically if you had some sort of had a bit of a flashback of I just feel like there's a problem when Batman's staring at his Robin's costume, past Robin costume in one of the male Robins. So yeah, which is kind of sort of briefly scene of him staring at the Robin's costume. And I guess I would have liked a flashback scene of Robin doing whatever getting done to Joker, and Batman getting revenge and crossing a serious line of taking a person's life, or just showing Batman being reckless and cruel to the Joker. So now that's my best. That's my best on what I can do to fix this Batman v Superman. Other than that, I love any moment of the film. I just feel like there's a scene or two that feels edited and removed from the film. I know that was the intentional or unintentional way when I see the alternate edition of Snyder's Batman v Superman, and none of that what I mentioned is edited into the film, so it's probably got removed, or whatever I said got removed before they started showing those things. Or yeah, so and this is like going to be mostly majority. I guess the majority of it is going to be me talking about why Batman shouldn't kill or commit manslaughter. We'll also try and make this as brief as a short video as possible, with giving a sort of my analysis of this. Okay, so I honestly think Batman shouldn't actually commit manslaughter or murder. And the reason why I think that you're going to think I'm going to sound like a toy, it just sounds so... It sounds like such an easy way to tell the story. And somehow, to me, makes him a less complex character and more of a simplified character than he is in the comics. And that's why it doesn't work. And I have this not just from Ben Affleck's Batman doing this, but also from Christian Bale's Batman doing this. And Batman begins by letting a criminal die, just for the sake of revenge. Because that tells me he didn't learn anything on his journey, and Batman Begins. You know, I enjoy it. It's just telling you it just feels lazy, you know. And the same goes for like Batman, Michael Keaton's Batman, which is the first Batman ever to take a life. And cartoon or live adaptation. And I somehow, honestly, I think I know I said something the opposite to that I think Christian Bale is a better written Batman than Ben Affleck, but now I'm starting to think the other way around. That Ben Affleck's a better written Batman than Ben Affleck is. I mean, the other way around. Christian Bale's not as good written as Batman has, well, Bruce Wayne, as Ben Affleck is. And mostly because I feel like in fact, I think he might be the worst. He might be the first or second worst next to Michael Keaton. I know that Michael Keaton, I liked him as Batman, but I feel like as a story, a coherent story-wise, in terms of performing, he's great at both of them. However, as part of telling a coherent story, the thing can't be said, as especially for a Batman story, it's just mediocre at best. For Christian Bale and Michael Keaton stories as Batman, for Michael Keaton's first two Batman films until you get to Dark Knight Rises, and which Dark Knight Rises is awesome. I felt like it was truly awesome. It on a Batman scale is awesome. However, Michael Keaton's first two Michael Keaton films and the first two Christian Bale films, I feel like their story as Batman is basically mediocre storytelling at best, along with really choppy editing. The scene, at least this is the scenes that the Batman's in and Bruce Wayne's in, because that's not like they're an important part of the story. And I know I don't like people want McKean wants Tim Burton to direct this for another Batman film or a Batman Beyond movie. But honestly, I don't want him to direct because Burton thinks respecting Batman's privacy. He says that you can't make money off of diving into the torture psychological aspects of a character for the big screen. But if you respect his privacy the most, and have him on less screen time, the more than any other character, you will make more money and the audience will be more engaged. Not just newcomers, mostly newcomers though, but for every audience. You know, diehard core fans would want to engage if you respect Batman's privacy, which I think that's a lot of garbage. It's bullshit, I think. So I think out of the 3 Batman films, the Batman that gets referenced the most in modern pop culture is, the 3 I noticed that get referenced the most in pop culture is Christian Bale, Ben Affleck, Michael Keaton, and sometimes Adam West. But notice how I say 3 that get referenced the most, and that's the first 3. I think the best acting-wise and editor-wise in story, telling a coherent story, and telling a character-driven story is nobody else that tops all of these tops more of these more than Ben Affleck. I have the 3, which is Ben Affleck, Christian Bale, and Michael Keaton. When it comes to playing a well-rounded and likable Bruce Wayne and Batman. So and probably wondering, am I going somewhere about why Batman shouldn't commit manslaughter or murder? Yeah, I am. I just want to finish this thing. And, see, I feel like, even though now that's what I want to be clear, I know that in the comics, he has committed both. But most of the times, those were the Golden Age, which is the early issues of Batman. The character has evolved a lot since then. Since the Golden Age had passed of Batman. And also, you know what he did in Batman Diamond Returns? That was a graphic novel. That was like, he did it, that, but I feel like when he did that, it was even out of nowhere than it was in Batman v Superman. And I know people that don't think that, okay, I think that, I think that Batman shouldn't do either one of those things. I feel like if you only have him do either one of the things, I think there should be at least payoff and a build up for if you're going to do, or no matter what story you're going to do of him committing murder or manslaughter. I think there should be a build-off and payoff. Well, there is a payoff, there is no build-up for Batman v Superman. The same goes for the reference in the anime movie of Batman Zack Snyder Returns, even though I like both those things. And however, I feel like there's no they have to be both payoff and build. It's missing one or the other. And I like the killing joke. I feel like the killing joke is the best story than either one of these, the comic and the movie, because I feel like there's a build up and there's a payoff. But you understand why Batman's because you understand. Assuming in the comics he assumingly kills the Joker in the Batman killing Joker comics, and assumingly in the movie he kills the Joker, because both adaptations, both things, the Joker stops laughing out of nowhere while Batman's still laughing. Though assumingly he committed murder and snapped. And both versions of the story, the animated movie and the original source material with the graphic novel. Because you see Joker do these, it also, you hear Barbara saying that Joker's worse than ever. After seeing the look in his eye. And he does do really bad things in the Killing Joke main story. And the Killing Joke story, you show those things. And so you see all this thing build, and you see all this serious intenseness building up to something, and then you see the payoff of Batman sharing a laugh with the Joker is probably committing murder in movie and in comics. So, and that's why I think there should be a build-off and payoff of going to have Batman do something that's traditionally out of character for him, whether it be manslaughter or sheer murder. Then I feel like there should be a build-up and a payoff for either ideas of directions to take the character, and so yeah. Because I feel like if you just do one or the other but don't do both, I feel like it feels kind of like a bit of a corporate cash grab and a bit of a sell. It comes to cost a bit of a corporate, so it comes a bit off of, what's the word? Bit of a cheap shot to how it tells, and taking shortcuts for ease, for the sake of time consuming, and that's exactly what Zack Snyder did for Batman v Superman. I know that's because he went on record and he went on video and camera and said that. So yeah, to me that just sounds lazy, and lazy is not what I want people to do when it comes to making comic book adaptations or anything involving comic book. So yeah, stuff, you know. I mean, I'll still like the movie, but I just won't have as much. I'll have less appreciation for it if I slowly figure it out, or while watching a film, or not always to see an interview of the person that made the film or show, you know. And I feel like if you're just going to have him to just kill, manslaughter, or murder, which I don't see what the difference is. There's really not. There's a weak line. The difference between those are very gray and stuff. And I feel like as if you're doing those things just for the sake of it, or just for the sake of time consuming, or having to do it on a regular basis, I feel like the character becomes less complex and less likable and more dated for some reason, and less timeless, and more, as I seen this before. That's what I mean by less timeless, and make him a watered down, mediocre, less complex, more simplified version of his comic book counterpart. So, when you have Batman do that on a regular basis, I can accept for them doing that in past the Golden Age, but for modern time, he's more become much, the characters involved become a much more complex and interesting and likable character than he ever was in the Golden Age. I'm not going to ask, like, I can do this easily better than what Zack Snyder did for Batman. With Batman, because I don't know if I could, but I would like to, but I would like to think I would try to do something better than what he did with Batman and Batman v Superman. I would like to think I would be up for trying. I don't know if I could. I wouldn't like to think that I could accomplish, but I would think I would like try if I was given the opportunity. So, and then these people that came with it, and then also that not for came with committing either one of them. And the majority of times, the same majority of time for the people who are now came with doing either one. We come across as majority of time as little fucking crybabies and kind of fucking brats. Mostly on people on the internet. On YouTube. And on tweets and in person. So, because I only know that